PillbugCraft here with another episode of PillbugCraft. So, hope you enjoyed that different intro that came about because I wanted to get one of the newer advancements in the game, which was a fairly simple one. It was make the meadows come alive with the sound of music from a jukebox. So that's what we did. We found a meadows biome there, and yeah, played the music disc in a jukebox up there. And I decided to combine that with the time-lapse of us finishing the first project for today. Which leads me nicely into what we're going to be doing for this episode. Just as the title says, we're going to be finishing up projects today, some of the ones that we've started. And as I just said, this was the first one. It is now finished, and I should probably acknowledge these. I decided to add these leg pump type structures after the time lapse because I felt like it was still missing something. This is supposed to be like a fuel tank or something, and added those. Kind of makes it look like it's pumping the fuel around or something. And also, I guess here's the inside. I've seen most of this before. I just wanted to point out that I have changed where the entrance to that chest, where all the scoop from the scoop farm ends up. Changed the entrance to inside the new building. So, not a whole lot to show of that. But, seeing as that one is now done, we can go on to our next project for the episode, which is, we said we would finish the entrance to the underground mall. Or, we said we would install an entrance to the underground mall, I suppose. Which is located over here, of course, inside Crunchy Potato's base. So we've already built one half of this thing in a previous video, but we still need to install the actual second teleportation module somewhere on the surface. So this is the first one here. Kind of give a bit of a memory refresher. This is kind of just a simple system here. Holds the ender pearls in stasis. And whenever it receives an update, or not an update, a redstone pulse, it causes this to get pulled down, and that will teleport the player that the pearl is attached to into this thing. At which point you can throw another pearl into the system for later and walk out, do whatever you need to do, and then come back, hit a button near it, and that'll teleport you to a different one of these systems somewhere else in the world. So that's what we're going to use for the entrance. Of course, every member of the server needs their own chamber. That way it doesn't teleport everybody or destroy the ender pearl every time. To make it more useful for everybody. But the main thing to keep in mind here is wherever the other one of these is, this one needs to remain loaded when you're at that one, and that one needs to be loaded when you're at this one. Otherwise, it just won't work. And the way we're going to be able to check for that is we're actually going to use the replay mod, which only shows chunks that were loaded when the replay was made. So I'm going to make a replay of me standing down here. Probably the furthest corner where I want to build that is we're going to build it probably diagonally that direction, somewhere at the surface. And using the replay mod, we should be able to see which chunks are loaded when we're standing at this spot. So I'll go ahead and make that replay, and we'll go have a look to see what is loaded. And here we are. So as you can see, I've got the replay mod opened up here. This is the replay that we just shot. I already paused it. So that's where we were standing, down at that corner of here. So now let's go ahead and move the camera up off in the direction that I was saying we needed to put the other structure in. And, oh wow, this is actually a fair bit further away than it looks from underground. We can't actually get the thing all the way into the shopping area. Where do we put this thing here? We could maybe put it up here, possibly. We'd have to do a bit of deforesting and stuff. Guess we could stick it over here, maybe. Thinking maybe we might have to do a bit of terraforming and stuff here, but maybe right over here. This is kind of far away, but hopefully not too far. Right in this patch of woods is probably where we're going to want to put it. It is a fair bit of ways from that, and I don't think anyone's using these structures over here anymore. I won't destroy any of them, but they might get covered up by the structure in front here. So, just be a little bit harder to see. Because I think it'll fit here. Yeah, let's go with putting it here. So, now we need to go back on the server and mark the location, probably. And then I'm going to have quite a few trees to remove. 1 second. Okay, so I believe the spot was right around here. So, let's go ahead and look at the coordinates here. Yeah, that looks good. We'll center it around this point. So, I guess next, just need to go ahead and chop down a bunch of these trees. And we'll get to building this thing. Also saw a creeper over there and a few skeletons down there. Probably gotta be careful of these guys, too. Okay, so I just finished routing this one line of redstone, wiring up all the teleporter module is all the way up there from the time-lapse area, all the way over to the other one. So, before I go ahead and wire the return wiring, which is the one on top here, the one that's going to be on top, before I go wire that, I figured we should probably test the one direction that we do have wired up, just to make sure this is going to work. There's no reason to waste time wiring up the other one if this is just not going to work because we miscalculated something. Now, hopefully it just does. So, I have an ender pearl and one of the hooked up modules down in the mall. All set. And I followed the redstone wire back from there, and I believe this button should be the one that's hooked up to the one we have the ender pearl in down there. So, hopefully when we press this button, it'll take us there. So, stand right here, hit the button. And something's not right here. Okay, I've got ourselves a testing torch. So, we place that there. Let's follow these lines to make sure it's working. Aha! There's the problem. Okay, I'm gonna pull all these repeaters in by one. But let's focus on testing the one first. So we place one there, and we hook that there. Okay, that's positioned correctly. It will reach all the way there. Perfect. Okay. I've gone ahead and wired it all up again, connected that last piece, removed the torch. So, now, hopefully this thing will work. So if we hit the button this time, again, stand as close as we can, just to make sure it's loaded. And it worked! Perfect. Now that is awesome. You have just enough time to flip down the trapdoor next to it before it teleports you in. So, we definitely did not miscalculate things. Now, the one thing to still test is potentially the one on the far side here. I believe these are flipped, so we could actually test this one now just to make sure both sides of the machine work. Yeah, let's do that. So we throw one there. Gotta test that furthest side, because that one, if that happens to be out of the render distance, just by a little bit, then it won't work. And lovely, it's night. There's a skeleton there. Let's see if we can teleport away from this guy, actually. And messes something up with that one again. Either that or that isn't the line that I thought it was. Found the problem. It stops just short of where it needs to be. All it's missing is one more repeater, probably like here. Okay, one final test that I've fixed that little problem. Haha! Okay, so all of these should work then. And it's not going to be a render distance problem. I guess that just means I need to go ahead and do one final test with everything in between here. Just the same thing that we did with the redstone to make sure everything's linked up. I also need to hook up button systems, like what I have on the other one, to these. And have it route the line all the way back. And I'm going to have that staggered. It's a little bit complicated, because I need to have it so that the ones underneath, that do the outputs underneath from the button system, they need to be underneath here initially. But then they need to have a way of actually getting above this line here, which is what this is going to be for. I'm going to have all of them come down, and then I'm going to have them, like, swerve off to the side here, dig out this a little bit more, and then have them pop back up with a line that is just like this one, and runs all the way up to trigger those machines. So we'll test it going the other direction when I come back after I've done all of that. And then project complete, assuming that works correctly. Okay, time to commence the first two-way test here. So, I've got this one, I think this one anyways, wired up to the corresponding one. The one that we teleported to this module from before, I have it wired up to this button. So, hopefully we can do a round trip here then. So, what we need to do is if we hit this button, okay, good, we're back up here at the one over here. Throw another pearl in here. And then if we hit this button, we go back. Yup. Well, that is perfect then. We got our first two-way teleporter going. I need to wire up the rest of these buttons to the ones on the surface, and then I think we'll have a working system here. And then I'll come back and hang up those banner thing as here as well. Only I think here I'm going to have it say exit teleporters instead of mall teleporters. And then we'll just have to label which ones go to which corresponding module on each side of the system. And we'll be set. We'll assign each one to a player. And we'll be good to go. I don't know that I have enough redstone to wire every single one of these up, though. But that'll be an issue that we'll tackle a bit later. Okay, and just like that, all of this is pretty much done. I do still need to cover over that little area on the back there, as well as this one. But beyond that, this is pretty much done. I've labeled it all for the different members of the server here. Got all of these functional. I've primed them all for 16 teleports in either direction. This one's the one that I've claimed for myself here. There's only one more thing left to do on this, and that would be the sign on the other end. So, let's teleport to the other side of this thing. Put down our ender pearl here. And yeah, this part here, so I guess I need to find the center of this and line it up like I did the other one. Just give me a second here. And there we go. That sign is now there. Exit teleporters. And I think that looks pretty good. And it's most certainly been centered. So I think that wraps up this project then. I do want to show some of the redstone behind it, actually. So let's go do that. Dig into here. It's a little bit of a mess, but it's basically the same thing for all of them. It's a big line connecting the one that is all the way over there to over here to activate this mechanism. And then that mechanism there gets activated when you hit the button, and it sends basically an identical signal to this all the way over to the other one, which initiates the teleportation at the other location. But this project took a lot more redstone and a lot more time than I was expecting it to. And this is why I had to run basically miles and miles and miles of redstone wire. And I think this used probably around, like, I don't even know, 1,000, possibly even 2,000 pieces of redstone dust if you count all the redstone that was required to make these repeaters. So, Yeah, it goes all the way up, all the way over, and links the two systems together. And I pretty much went through 2 netherite pickaxes to do this as well. Had to do a fair bit of villager trading to get some of the redstone near the end, which is how come I repaired some of the damage on here. So, but both of these pickaxes were basically dead by the time I was done digging out all of that. And of course it's night. Fly away from that. We don't need any creepers. That would be very bad. But yeah, that is basically the system. That is all the time we have for today's episode. Unfortunately, I did have some other things I wanted to finish up in terms of projects this episode, but I do not have any time left. It's going to be hard enough to get this video out sometime this week. Those projects are going to have to either not get done, or I guess I'll see if I can do any of them off camera and have them ready for the final few episodes of this season. But with that done, that is the end of this episode. So, if you've enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. If you really loved it, consider subscribing. And, well, that's about it for me for today. So, my name is PillbugCraft, and so long till next time.